Starting May 1st, millions of Americans are about to see a major shift in when their Social Security checks hit their accounts. And if you don't know exactly when your money is coming, you could be sitting there wondering why your bills are piling up while your neighbor already got paid. This isn't some small technical update. This is the kind of thing that can mess with your budget, your stress levels, and your ability to plan your entire month if you're not paying attention. Here's what most people don't realize. The Social Security Administration doesn't just send everyone their money on the same day. They split it up based on your birthday, your benefit type, and when you first started receiving payments. And starting May 1st, that schedule is going to matter more than ever because one missed payment date, one wrong assumption about when that deposit is coming can throw off everything from your rent to your medications to your groceries. So if you're getting Social Security retirement benefits, SSI or SSDI, you need to know exactly when your payment is scheduled. Not approximately, not kind of, exactly. Because the difference between May 14th and May 21st might not sound like much on paper, but when you're living on a fixed income, those 7 days can feel like forever. Let me walk you through the entire system, step by step, so you know exactly where you stand. And I'm not just going to give you the dates. I'm going to show you why the system works this way, what it means for your specific situation, and what you need to watch out for so you don't get caught off guard. First, let's talk about the people who get paid on the same day every single month, no matter what. If you've been receiving Social Security benefits since before May 1997, your payment comes on the 3rd of every month. Always. That's the rule. So if you're in that group, your May payment hits on May 3rd. Your June payment hits on June 3rd. Your July payment hits on July 3rd. You get the idea. The SSA keeps you on that old schedule because you were grandfathered in before they redesigned the whole payment system. Now, if the 3rd falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, they move it up to the last business day before that. So if May 3rd happened to be a Saturday, you'd get paid on Friday, May 2nd. The SSA doesn't make you wait until Monday. They push it forward, not backward. That's actually one of the nicer quirks of the system. But here's where it gets more complicated. If you're receiving Supplemental Security Income, SSI, you're on a completely different schedule. SSI payments always go out on the 1st of the month. Always. So your May payment lands on May 1st. And just like with the 3rd of the month crew, if the 1st falls on a weekend or holiday, they move it up to the last business day before that. This is important because SSI is not the same as Social Security Retirement or SSDI. A lot of people confuse them. SSI is a needs-based program. It's for people with limited income and resources who are either elderly, blind, or disabled. Social Security Retirement is based on your work history and the payroll taxes you paid over the years. SSDI is disability insurance for people who worked and paid into the system but can no longer work due to a disability. 3 different programs, 3 different eligibility rules, and sometimes 3 different payment schedules. Now, here's where most people start to get lost. If you started receiving Social Security Retirement or SSDI benefits after May 1997, your payment date is based on your birthday, not the day you applied, not the day you were approved, your actual birth date. The SSA split everyone into 4 groups to spread out the workload and make the system more efficient. Here's how it breaks down. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your Social Security payment comes on the 2nd Wednesday of every month. So for May, that's May 14th. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, your payment comes on the 3rd Wednesday. That's May 21st. And if you were born between the 21st and the 31st, your payment comes on the 4th Wednesday. That's May 28th. Let me say that again, because this is the part people mess up all the time. Born on the 1st through the 10th, 2nd Wednesday. Born on the 11th through the 20th, 3rd Wednesday. Born on the 21st through the 31st, 4th Wednesday. Your birth date controls your payment date, not your spouse's birthday. Not when you retired, not when you turn 62 or 65 or 70, your birthday. And this applies to Social Security Retirement and SSDI, both of them. If you're getting disability benefits and you started receiving them after May 1997, you follow the birthday schedule just like retirees do. But here's the twist. If you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, which some people do, you'll get 2 separate payments on 2 separate days. Your SSI payment comes on the 1st of the month. Your Social Security payment comes on either the 3rd if you're grandfathered in or on the Wednesday that matches your birthday if you're not. 2 checks, 2 dates. You have to track both. Now let's talk about why this matters more than you think. A lot of people assume their payment will just show up sometime around the beginning of the month and they'll deal with it when it gets there. That works fine until it doesn't. Until you've got a bill due on the 15th and your payment doesn't hit until the 21st. Until you're standing at the pharmacy on the 12th and your account is still empty because you were born on the 23rd and your money isn't coming until the fourth Wednesday. This is where planning makes all the difference. If you know your exact payment date, you can structure your entire month around it. You can set up your automatic payments to pull after your deposit hits. You can schedule your grocery trips, your doctor visits, your everything. So you're never sitting there waiting and wondering and stressing about money that's technically yours, but not in your hands yet. And here's something most people don't think about. If you're helping an elderly parent or a disabled family member manage their finances, you need to know their payment schedule just as much as they do. Because if you're the one paying their bills or making sure their rent gets covered, you can't just guess when the money is coming. You need to know the exact date so you can coordinate everything without putting them at risk of late fees or missed payments. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you were born on March 8th. That puts you in the 1st through 10th group. Your Social Security payment comes on the second Wednesday of every month. In May, that's the 14th. So if your rent is due on the 1st, you need to either have savings to cover it or work out a payment arrangement with your landlord because your Social Security check isn't going to be there in time. But if your rent is due on the 15th or later, you're golden. Your money hits the day before and you can pay it right away. Now, let's say you were born on November 27th. That puts you in the 21st through 31st group. Your payment comes on the fourth Wednesday. In May, that's the 28th. If you've got bills due in the first half of the month, you're going to need a different strategy. Maybe you negotiate due date changes. Maybe you build up a buffer. Maybe you ask for payment plans. But you can't just hope it works out because the math doesn't work out. And this is the part that drives me crazy. The system isn't designed to be confusing. It's actually pretty logical once you understand it. But the SSA doesn't exactly go out of their way to make sure everyone knows how it works. They send you a letter when you first start receiving benefits, and it tells you your payment date. But a lot of people don't keep that letter, or they don't read it carefully, or they read it once and forget it 6 months later. And then they're stuck trying to figure out why their payment schedule seems random when it's actually following a very specific pattern. So here's what you need to do right now. Figure out which group you're in. If you started receiving benefits before May 1997, you're in the third of the month group. If you're getting SSI, you're in the first of the month group. If you started receiving Social Security or SSDI after May 1997, check your birth date and find your Wednesday. And once you know your date, write it down. Put it in your phone calendar with a recurring reminder. Set it up so you get an alert the day before your payment is supposed to hit. That way, if something goes wrong, if there's a delay, if there's an issue with your bank, you'll know about it immediately instead of finding out 3 days later when you're already overdrawn. Because here's the thing, payments almost always go through on time. The SSA is incredibly reliable about this, but almost always isn't the same as always. Sometimes there's a bank processing delay. Sometimes there's a federal holiday you didn't think about. Sometimes there's a technical glitch, and if you're not expecting your payment on a specific day, you won't even notice when it's late. But if you know it's supposed to hit on May 14th and May 14th comes and goes with nothing, you can call the SSA right away. You can check your account. You can figure out what's going on before it turns into a crisis. That's the power of knowing your schedule. Now, let's talk about federal holidays because this trips people up every single year. If your payment date falls on a federal holiday, the SSA moves it to the last business day before the holiday, not the next business day, the one before. So if the second Wednesday of the month happens to be a federal holiday, your payment comes on Tuesday instead. If the first of the month is a holiday, your SSI payment comes the business day before. Memorial Day is May 26th this year. That's a Monday. So if your payment is normally scheduled for a day that gets affected by the holiday weekend, it might shift. The SSA publishes a payment calendar every year that shows exactly when each payment will be issued, accounting for weekends and holidays. You can find it on their website. You can print it out. You can keep it somewhere. You'll actually look at it, and you should, because guessing is not a strategy. Here's another thing people don't realize. Your payment date doesn't change just because you want it to. You can't call the SSA and ask them to move your payment to a different Wednesday because it would be more convenient for you. The system is automated. Your birthday determines your date. That's it. The only exception is if you're still on the old third of the month schedule because you've been receiving benefits since before 1997. In that case, you stay on that schedule unless you specifically request to be moved to the birthday-based system, which most people don't do because there's no real advantage to it. And if you're thinking about changing your bank account or switching from paper checks to direct deposit or vice versa, do it carefully. The SSA needs time to process those changes. If you switch your bank account 2 days before your payment is supposed to hit, there's a good chance that payment is going to get delayed or sent to the wrong place. Give them at least a month's notice. Update your information right after you receive one payment, so the next one has time to get routed correctly. Direct deposit is the way to go, by the way. If you're still getting paper checks, you're adding unnecessary risk and delay to the whole process. Checks get lost in the mail. They get stolen. They take longer to clear. And if there's a postal delay, you could be waiting days or even weeks longer than you should be. Direct deposit hits your account on the exact day it's supposed to, every single time, as long as your bank information is correct. Now let's talk about what happens if you're new to the system. If you just got approved for Social Security or SSDI or SSI, your first payment might not follow the regular schedule. There's usually a waiting period. There's processing time. There's all kinds of administrative stuff that has to happen before you get into the normal rhythm. So don't panic if your first payment doesn't come on the day you expect. It might take a month or two to sync up with the regular schedule. But once you're in the system, you should be getting paid like clockwork. And if you're appealing a denied claim or waiting for a decision, that's a whole different timeline. Payments don't start until your claim is approved. And if you win an appeal, you might get back pay for the months you were waiting, but that comes as a separate lump sum, not as part of your regular monthly payment, just so you know what to expect. Here's something else that matters. It's happy. If you're working while receiving Social Security retirement benefits and you're under full retirement age, there are earnings limits that could affect your payment amount. If you earn too much, the SSA might withhold part of your benefit, but that doesn't change your payment date. You'll still get paid on your scheduled day. It just might be a smaller amount than you were expecting. So keep track of your earnings and know where the limits are. For 2025, if you're under full retirement age for the entire year, the SSA deducts $1 from your benefits for every $2 you earn above a certain threshold. That threshold changes every year, so check the current number. If you reach full retirement age in 2025, the limit is higher and the deduction rate is different. And once you hit full retirement age, there's no earnings limit at all. You can make as much as you want without affecting your Social Security payment. But again, your payment date stays the same regardless of how much you're earning. Now, let's get into what you should actually do with this information. First, go find out your exact payment date if you don't already know it. Check your SSA account online. Look at your award letter. Call the SSA if you have to. Just get the date. Second, mark it on your calendar. Every month. Don't rely on memory. Third, set up your bills and expenses around that date. If your payment comes on the 14th, don't schedule your rent or your car payment or your utilities to pull on the 5th. Align everything so your money is there when you need it. Fourth, build a buffer if you can. I know that's easier said than done when you're on a fixed income, but even a small cushion, $50, $100 can make a huge difference when something unexpected comes up. It gives you breathing room. It keeps you from having to choose between paying a bill on time and buying food. And fifth, stay informed. The SSA doesn't change the payment system very often, but when they do, you need to know about it. They announce changes on their website. They send out notices. Pay attention to those. Don't just throw them away assuming it's junk mail. If there's a change coming that affects your payment date or your benefit amount, you want to know about it as early as possible so you can adjust. Here's the bottom line. Your Social Security, SSI, or SSDI payment is probably one of the most important sources of income you have. For a lot of people, it's the only source of income. That money has to cover everything. Your housing, your food, your medicine, your life, and the system is set up to deliver that money on a very specific, very predictable schedule. But it only works in your favor if you actually know what that schedule is. Starting May 1st, this is the schedule you need to know. If you're getting SSI, your payment comes on May 1st. If you've been getting Social Security since before May 1997, your payment comes on May 3rd. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th and you started receiving Social Security or SSDI after May 1997, your payment comes on May 14th, the second Wednesday. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, your payment comes on May 21st, the third Wednesday. If you were born between the 21st and the 31st, your payment comes on May 28th, the fourth Wednesday. That's the system. That's the schedule. That's what you need to know. And now that you know it, you can plan your entire month with confidence instead of guessing and hoping and stressing every time the first of the month rolls around. This isn't just about knowing a date. It's about taking control of your finances. It's about reducing stress. It's about making sure you're never caught off guard by something that's completely predictable if you just have the right information. And now you have it. So take 5 minutes today. Figure out your payment date. Write it down. Set a reminder. Tell a family member if you need backup. Get your system in place. Because once you do, you'll never have to wonder when your money is coming again. You'll just know. It's night, it's free. And that peace of mind, that certainty, that's worth more than people realize. If this breakdown helped you understand the payment schedule, do me a favor and hit the like button so more people can find this video. There are millions of people out there who are still confused about when their Social Security is going to hit, and they need this information just as much as you did. Share this with anyone you know who's on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI. Send it to your parents. Send it to your friends. Send it to anyone who could use a clear explanation without all the jargon and runaround. And if you want more content like this, straightforward breakdowns of the programs and systems that actually affect your life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'm cutting through the confusion on everything from Social Security to Medicare to veterans benefits to retirement planning. No fluff, no filler, just the information you actually need to make smart decisions. Drop a comment below and let me know what your payment date is and whether this video cleared things up for you. I read every single comment, and if there's something I didn't cover or something you're still confused about, tell me and I'll make another video on it. Your money matters, your time matters, and your peace of mind matters. Don't leave any of it to chance when you don't have to. Now, you know exactly when your payment is coming. Use that knowledge, plan around it, and take control of your financial life, one payment date at a time.